and welcome to the Scratchicus Academy. We are delving into our second Cypher System. Yes, our second Cypher System show this week in our first week of season 2. I'm going to run through a few bits before we get going, and then we'll pop around and say hello to all these lovely people. So, first of all, we've got a lovely Discord. It's full of lovely people like you see here. And we like to talk TTRPGs, D&D, and just everything. We talk everything. If you want to get into one of our games, please drop Scrat a DM on Twitter. We now have 5 viewer games, including the Cypher System. We also have Cypher System, Ryutama, Monster of the Week, D&D 5e, and I know there's another one. Ravnica. That's all we have with Ravnica. So drop Scrat a message if you want to try any of those out. We also have YouTube. YouTube, we are not uploading every single one of the 40 games we did over 12 days in Christmas because that would be insane. So if there's one in particular you would like to see, please let Scrat or I know and we will upload it for you. However, these are going up very much like the first season regularly. So, also, we are full-time now, and that's thanks to you wonderful people. I can't believe we're now in season 2. And ways to support us via Patreon. There's some really awesome bits and bobs on there, but there are also some free articles written by our very wonderful Renee, who is an awesome human being all round. So definitely go check those out. We also have merch via Redbubble. I have a super comfy hoodie from there, super comfy t-shirts. I love everything there. And Scrat is telling me he's going to try and get some Scrat Academy leggings, which I'm still not sure how I feel about this. But I have been assured that this is what he might be doing. Other than that, we have some really awesome sponsors. One of them is in the form of Bird in the Storm, who you may also know as the lovely Tool School, who is in our Eberron game, and the absolutely wonderful Bird vs. Plane, who you will have seen over Christmas. And we are working on some stuff with them behind the scenes, which I am so excited to bring in season 3. I can't wait. We've also got Mage Hand Press. You will have seen their really awesome Dark Matter Alpha series, which is a D&D 5e reskin. So essentially D&D in space, and it's awesome. We played in Argo 37 last season, and Laugh Love Lindy is running our campaign in Dark Matter. I believe after this one. My brain's a bit scrambled because it's opening week, but I believe it is after this one. Also, we no longer have the wild magic surges. We have re-rolls, and because it's Cypher System, we also have where you can donate a point to a pool for someone, for one of the players to aid them in a roll or something to that effect. We also have a list of trinkets. These trinkets can either be donated, or every 4 followers or every 10 retweets, we will roll to see who gets one of these wonderful cursed aiding items. We don't know how it's going to go yet, so it'll be fine. So we're going to go round and say hello to our, all these lovely faces, and say who you are. We're apparently at 10 retweets already. So whilst that happens, I'm gonna give I'll give you all a number in a minute. We'll approach that in a minute. But say who you are, where we can find you, and who you will be playing today. So let's go round. Let's go with, I'm going to go by your character names, and it's going to challenge me because I can't read half of them. So Marcos, hello. Or Meg, whichever you would rather today.
You're fine. Hi, I'm Meg. You can find me on Twitter at Pishgamebon, and my character's name is Marcus. And what else did you say? Was that all?
Where can we find you? And maybe describe a little bit about your character.
Oh, describe a little bit about our character too. Okay. So Marcus is kind of a young kid. He's kind of like a oblivious, like rich city boy kind of character. So I'm excited to see him get punted around a little bit in this campaign because he's never really known anything like hard. So that's that.
I'm really sorry for him. Okay, and then we're gonna hop over to I'm going to say it wrong. Zyraxes? Zyra?
Well done!
I said it, yeah.
You
good.
said it.
I know what I meant.
So I am Shakespeare, and I will be playing Zyraxes. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Shakespeare. It's the same name every time because I'm uninventive that way. But I will be playing Zyraxes, who is a mad follower of the cult of Dionysus, who basically is a gender-neutral vagrant who wanders in the wilderness and is drunk most of the time and is completely mad in service of their god.
Oh, I can't wait. This group, by the way, is just insane, and I love it. And now, Cosima or Charlie.
Or me. So I'm playing Cosima or Charlie in my free time, which is very limited these days, as I seem to be on all the streams and all the places, which is wonderful. And I'm very glad to be back here on the Scrat Academy. Cosima is a fisherman's wife. Is her official, I guess, employment record, but she's currently working on her husband's boat and doing what she can around the home as he has been lost at sea. And times require that you do hard things. But Cosima has determined that she will go on a journey and she will get her husband back. Because anything that is lost can be found.
He's going to be in so much trouble when you find him.
Wait. She is the daughter of a soldier and a very physical lady. But she lives like a nice quiet life down by the port. So I don't think that's going to last very long.
And last but not least, Hestia.
Yes. My name's Amber. I'll be playing Hestia. Hestia is a former practitioner of the healing arts, but she did something in her past that caused the gods to curse her, and now she can only cast spells that cause damage instead. That's all I want to reveal about her for now.
That's absolutely fine. Now everyone's like, oh God.
Oh God.
Oh gods, yes. Oh God. So we're going to go around each of these lovely players just to get an insight in the day, what is going on for them on this day. And I am going to start with Cosima. So Cosima, what would you be doing at this point
What
of the day?
season do we find ourselves in?
We are seeing ourselves at the end of summer. It is it's still that really sort of hot, dense, that stuffy air, but you've also got that sea breeze as you find yourself in the seaside town, a seaside town that is ever growing. In fact, it looks like it's on its way to be a city, the city of Iberos. There are huge market squares. There's people bringing their wares into trade, both from boats, probably, which you are more familiar with, but also by cart. And down towards the bay, the sun is dancing and is glittering on this ocean, which is very calm today. And you can see the fishing and transport vessels sort of bobbing up and down on this ocean. And there's two huge stone statues carved, guarding the entrance to this harbour, towering up into the sky. So whereabouts are you on this day? It's sort of mid-morning.
I think she is in fact down on the beach, having hauled her small fishing boat up onto the sands to make repairs. I think she probably went out very early this morning with her nets, and has brought them back in and is now labouring in the mid-morning sun, repairing, patching, scraping away at the barnacles that grip to the salty, sandy wood, and just kind of trying to get on with life as best she can.
Yeah, you can see some of the other fishermen that sort of, they see you, they wave. You know that some of them may have worked with your husband at one point before he disappeared. And it's coming up to midday, and there's a fair few people doing something very similar to you. They're hauling in the early morning catch, the fish that they pulled up with their nets. And everything seems very, very calm. The sea itself is calm, and on the air you can smell cooking. You can smell that fish cooking, the herbs, the spices, where some of the fishermen have already started taking their product to the market slightly up the way and cooking the leftovers. And thank you to Saki Hawkeye, who donates a reroll for Marcus and Hestia. So thank you very much. And there is another fisherman who approaches you. You recognize him. He says hello to you every time you pull up the boat, just as he did with your husband. This is Alexi. How's everything going? It's been a while now.
It's going, Alexi. Small catch today.
Enough?
Never enough.
It does seem that way lately, doesn't it? No news of sort of gestures out to the sea.
She just kind of shrugs and gives the half shake that's become kind of the custom.
Well, you know that you are always welcome at my dinner table with me and my wife. But they're cooking some seriously good stuff up in that market square right now. But I'll leave you to it. I know you like your privacy. I'm just here, okay? And he just backs up that little bit and leaves you on this beach with your boat.
I'll see you later, Alexi.
And he nods and sort of looks back briefly, but you see him haul up his own nets, sling them over his shoulder, and head up towards the sort of market in the bay, just where the houses start to grow out. And there's a couple of children messing about on the beach. They're sort of throwing, they're in the water splashing, just throwing water at each other, scooping it up and spinning it into the air. And you hear one of them cry out, "Ow, my foot! What was that?" And they say, I don't know, I can't see anything. And you see them that they're looking in this water. Just, can you see it? Maybe it was nothing. Like, and they seem to almost like be digging around, and then after a while they get bored. They get real bored. And they sort of leave. They leave, they paddle for a bit longer, and then they head off, looking back every now and then. And as they do this, something catches your eye. Something glistens on the shore. Almost like a mirror, like glass.
I lay down. I think I'm probably using like a mallet or something to put a steel band back in place, something like that. And I sat down in the sand, and I kind of glanced towards the child that had cried out to see if they were actually like seriously injured, if I could see something like that, and then turned back to that glitter, knowing how quickly things could disappear into the sea.
Yeah, you look over to the child, who they're now running, so you're pretty sure they're okay. It was more of a fuss more than anything, but they're sort of, it's as if it's been forgotten and they're running off. And just poking out of this, just out of the sand, just barely. You only saw it because the sunlight caught it. And it's almost like this crystal type carving. And sometimes you find lots of weird things on the beach. Lots of things wash up. You get so many merchants and traders come through here. But this isn't that, as you might think of it, that tack that they bring over the sea, and just those carved like those figures and things that they try and sell to whoever comes and visits. This is like a big chunk of quartz. and you're not sure what it is, but it's like it's singing to you. It's like there's something about it. It's not the... After sort of looking down at it and observing it, you realize it wasn't the light that caught your eye at all, but you thought you heard it.
I take up my knife, which is my all-purpose tool. I use it for pretty much everything, from cutting up knots out of my nets, to cutting up my own dinner, to other general tasks. And I slowly kind of excavate out the sand from around this object, get a better idea of what it is, and then once it's free, I'll wash it in the surf as the wave comes in, and take a closer look at this strange item.
Yeah, as you you sort of like move all the sand aside, it's really easy. The sand is damp here, and you rinse it off, and you feel that grain on this very, very smooth surface. Some parts of this crystal, if you like, it's not shiny. It's almost fogged over. You've
Kind of like sea glass.
Yeah, kind of, but this is a big chunk of it. This isn't something, and it's white. It's in parts of it, it's completely clear, and it does, as you turn it in the sunlight, almost catches like a rainbow sort of effect, but you've never seen something like this before.
I take it with me back to the boat, and I pull the boat up clear of the high tide mark so it won't get washed out, and collect my bag, stow my knife into its little sheath. And I think I would probably head back up towards either my house or maybe down towards town. I'm kind of distracted by this strange object. It's probably coming up to lunchtime, so it's probably about time to make some sort of devotion at the home shrine before eating some food.
Yeah, you can see there's you can see your home further up. How would you describe your home?
The house is the ground floor part of this structure. There's another house that's kind of been built on top, and it's that bright white stone. On the outside, on the wall, there's a painting, a small mural that had been done in expensive blue paint. A symbol that was meant to be kind of good luck, and also an icon of our trade in the house. And the entranceway is tiled over in a kind of a terracotta tile, and she'll slip off her shoes and walk bare feet across these tiles, which are kind of cold to the touch, and into the house. It's a very simple abode, and on the way in, that's where the home shrine is.
Yeah, you can see the shrine set up. You've always set it up. Maybe some of your husband's things are by the shrine. It is outside. You can see it's almost like the town is livening up that little bit. You can hear in the distance. You can hear music, and you suspect once again there's something going on. But you're in this house, and you have this crystal in your hands.
With the crystal in my hands, and it so absorbs my attention, for a moment I just kind of zone out staring at it, and then I see my own reflection in a beaten metal bowl that hangs by the shrine, and I come back and I realize how quiet the house is, with the children away with my sister and my husband not here. And I light a small pouch of dried herbs that sits on the shrine and say simple prayers thanking Poseidon for his protection on the sea today, and a few of the other deities. And then my feet go straight back in my shoes, and I go out not wanting to be in this empty house. And I take the crystal with me in my bag. It's kind of a net bag. It's a dense net that she uses to carry everything. She kind of puts the crystal in that. And part of her wonders if this is a sign of the journey that she knows she has to take, if this is some sort of step, but she also knows that she doesn't know anything about this journey and that she's meant to find someone first. So she walks along the beaten dirt paths and up into the city, the town proper, where there are more cobbles which form streets that the merchants can more safely bring their carts on when it's muddy and things like that.
Yeah, you see carts rolling in. You can hear a lot more shouting of people trying to sell their wares. Now, there's lots of things being sold here. There's livestock. There's fish. Very much like that. You recognize a lot of the fishermen that are at these stalls. You can see people selling silks and precious things that seem to have come over the ocean. And one of them even sees you and is just like, "Good lady, can I interest you in anything today?"
Not today, thank you.
You sure? Like, and he's sort of like holding out all these like different silks and things. It's like, I trade not just in money, but also items.
She thinks to the crystal in her bag. I don't think I have anything for you.
No problem. Maybe tomorrow. And he sort of...
And there's a part of her that kind of looks back and kind of longs for the silks and the fine things, but she doesn't have a place for them. And she'll kind of meander through and dodge people trying to catch her attention, but slowly be drawn, I think, in a circle back towards the silks. And when the guy is not really watching or he's distracted with someone else, then she'll kind of tactile and touch the fabrics.
Yeah, you feel these. This is so soft, softer than so many things. You're used to all this rough work. You're used to this rough nets, cloth, just the barnacles themselves on your boat. This is, especially against like your maybe your calloused fingers from working all day, it sort of glides over your hands like the water itself. And there are so many colors and so many intricate designs. This person is not just from, this person has traveled far to bring these sorts of things to this market. You do manage to avoid him. He doesn't so there's someone else who has caught his eye and continues to try and sell his wares, and there is a woman who is definitely lapping it all up and piling it on.
I think it's almost funny to anyone watching to see Cosima try and be not noticed, because she's very tall for a woman. Not only is she very tall, but she's very broad in the shoulders with large muscular arms. She does what she can to kind of disguise them with a shawl, but it's kind of one of those things, once you've kind of noticed it, you can't not see it and how large her presence is.
As you see all of these, and yes, you do blend in somehow. You've been seen at the market many a time. It's almost that passing face in the crowd. And you hear whispers. Nothing that sounds, it doesn't sound aggressive. It doesn't sound as if it's trying to get your attention. Again, it's that singing. And you realize this stone in your bag, this crystal or whatever it is, you're not far away from the sea right now. You can still smell it. You can still smell that salty air, but you shouldn't be able to hear it, and you can hear it. And you think it's coming from your bag.
I think she takes out the statue, lost again in this moment, this strange, wondrous thing that's happening. And she brings it out and she actually places it on the silk that she's been touching, which is a teal blue. That reminds her kind of the sea just after the storm when the sands churned up and makes it a little bit more green than blue.
As you do this, you look at this crystal, you look at the blue behind it, this teal, these blue silks are sort of, the colors are distorted and showing through this crystal. And for a split second, you swear you see a boat, your boat, sailing across the ocean. across the surface of this crystal and passes again.
She kind of glances around, almost hopeful that someone else is seeing what she's seeing, and glances overhead to the sky and probably the seagulls that are going by. Maybe one of them has stolen some fish off her stall and just kind of chuckling at its catch. And then she looks back to this crystal and she intensely stares at it, willing it to show her whatever it just showed her again, willing herself to see what this thing is, to understand how what's happening is happening.
Yeah, you sort of, like, as you bend down and look that little bit further, a yellow silk from behind the blue, you can see just grazed the top of this crystal, and it's like a sunburst hits this crystal, and you almost feel like you have to shield your eyes as you see this boat ride this wave and turn dark like a stormy sky. And as you look into this, you hear some of the fishermen at the at their stalls go, "Oh, great!" And you sort of hear that rumble, that thunder. And as you cast your eyes out, you look over the sea and see these heavy grey clouds starting to roll in. And as you look back at the crystal, there's your boat again. Your husband stood at the helm as it all disappears beneath the waves. And that same merchant again came back, did you?
You should take your silks inside. There's a storm coming. And she's gonna snatch up that crystal, kind of protectively move it under a fold of fabric if she can.
Yeah, you can swipe this away really quickly. It's like, oh, like, it doesn't really get a chance to say anything as you disappear. So we're now at 20 retweets, so I'm going to do another roll for a trinket. So
Dun, dun, dun.
Ba-ba-ba-ba.
I'm sorry for the coughing.
3 again.
Woo.
Yes, can Hestia roll another one, please? These will come into play when we get to Hestia.
Oh, goodness.
And Cosmo, do you head back home, or do you head further into?
I think she's actually going to head further into the city.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe towards the larger, like, I don't know if there's like a temple district, but like the more religious area.
Yeah, there's a large temple at the center here where you will know there are many priests and priestesses that reside within this area.
On her way, she would probably buy some sort of offering that would be appropriate. So it probably wouldn't be fish because she could have brought that from her own catch, but it would be, I don't know, maybe a meat or something, like a chicken, something of that nature to bring with her.
Yeah, there's like a meat stand where you could either go and get from that. How people are also selling livestock. There are also lots of herbs and things like that that are being dried and sold there as well.
I think she gets a kind of a large brown hen and like a tied sprig of some herbs to take as offering. Obviously wanting to encourage a bountiful harvest, given that the sea is not doing so well at the moment, and just things of home, like blessings for her family and things like that. So I think that's what she's kind of going with.
You can approach this district with this brown hen and these herbs which have been drying in the sun, and you can smell them as you hold them in your hand and you crush them slightly, not on purpose. You've got big hands. And you head over to this temple, effectively this huge pillared temple, and there are lots of people here. Lots of people, and you step into this very serene, this very calm scene, and there's lots of robed people here. They're very silent, they're nodding. You can hear some people singing, in harmony together. And you see up by the steps of the temple 3 or 4 other people laying down these items. You see a mixture of, you do see fish, but these are not gifted by fishermen. You can see other people have brought some hens or some other lives that just left in cages there. The priest coming round and collecting them once the prayers have been given.
I think she will give the devotion as normal, but she says a prayer that she hasn't said in a long time, and it's one that her father would say before he would go out with the legions. And it was a prayer about being protected in far off places, but also returning home. And even though she doesn't know when she's going to go on her journey, it's becoming more and more set in her mind that she must, and that there is a storm coming to this place. And so she is very protection themed.
Yeah. And as you lay these down, you bow your head, and when you look up, could you roll me an intellect, please? An intellect, I think I need you to beat a 2, because this isn't...
Alright. Okay. Oh, that was a 1, so I do not.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a GM intrusion.
Yeah, that is. So, as
Why
you...
must you forsake?
Yeah, why have you done this now?
Dice jail. Put it in the dice jail.
Yeah, dice jail. As you look up, you glance up briefly, and you see someone not dressed like the others turn and leave. From the way they were standing, they were right in front of you, just behind a pillar. And it looks like they only took leave as they saw you look up at them.
I think she feels some sort of suspicion towards this person. Do I get much of an insight into who they might be or their business from obviously the back of them as they're...
You could roll again if you want.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to roll that one again.
16. So
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
4.
Yeah. So
105.
as you do, you recognize the cloak itself. The cloak itself from the back. It's plain, but there is a decorative like trim all the way around the outside, and you know this is, well, you've seen them in the high street, you've seen them on stage, these actors, these performers that entertain the people with stories of delight, stories of macabre, songs, and all manner of things. And this is the cloak that they wear as you see it sort of turn and start to walk away from you.
I think she hastens to follow. A lot more questions.
Are you doing this like just walking? Or
I think she is literally very purposefully just walking. If this person starts to run, then she knows that she definitely has to catch them.
Yeah. As you do this, you see this cloak, because you mainly see the cloak and you see these feet beneath this cloak start to quicken. They don't... You're not sure what it is, but you're getting that strange feeling. You don't know if it's the storm coming in and the temperature is starting to drop. And this person not glances back, you can't see the face, but they start to pick up their pace. It's almost if they because you're making your presence known, and they start to run. They start
Stop.
to run.
She's gonna try verbally.
Yeah,
if that doesn't work, then she'll run.
You shout, and this person glances back for a second, and you see a face. Not a face, a mask. You see a Muse. You see the white face, this metallic face of the theatre, with this grim, open, saddened face, with the beard, the rolled hair, as they break into a run upon hearing you shout after them.
Her feet just start hitting the pavement hard.
Yeah,
she's running.
You run, and this person just starts to weave in and out, crashing. Like you see a lot of people at the market stall actually sort of step back, and I need you to roll a speed check for me, please. And you're big and you're used to move, so I'm going to say you only need to be a 2.
Okay. 14. So
yeah. So on this, you close in on this person, and as you get closer and closer, this person leaves the marketplace. They are running down towards the ocean. They are running faster and faster down those little dusty streets. The cobbles start to disappear in between the houses. They run through one of the houses briefly, hoping to lose you, but with your strength and your determination, you reach. They stop at the shore. You are inches away from them, and they stop with their back to you.
I think as they stop and I'm in that wet sand, I actually really struggle to stop my momentum.
You just couldn't crash.
Just go crashing into them in a slip and a slide across the sand.
You crash into this person, and you're like a bulldozer coming into this, but this person's not huge, and you just take them out, and you both crash into this salty water, and your head goes under for a brief moment, and you think you can hear that singing again before that gasp of air comes up.
I think she surfaces and she kind of grabs the back to pull up the head of whoever she's just knocked into the water so they don't drown underneath her.
As you grab this person, you feel you feel these shoulders underneath, you pull them up out of the water, and as you turn them round, it all falls away, and you're just holding a cloak, and the mask is washed up by one of the waves. And there's that singing again.
And I think at this moment there's that harsh sea breeze that rolls in just full of salt, and the storm is just there on the horizon, just washing in, and she just stays there kneeling in the surf watching the storm roll in towards town.
These grey clouds just roll in over the horizon. You can see that flash of lightning dancing up in the sky, and that roar, that rumble of the thunder as it starts to broach the 2 guarding statues.
And she takes the mask and she turns it up so it's kind of like a cup, and she just watches it kind of bobbing up and down as the waves kind of come in, until it will eventually, I guess, fill with water and kind of sink, and she'll kind of pull it back out and turn it over and try and understand the expression and what just happened.
Yeah, this face is the sad face. This is the almost like the macabre Muse face, as it just drifts on this wave. And as you sit there in the sand with this water lapping up against you, and this mask flips, it tumbles before lodging itself back in the sand. And for a moment you are distracted. There is that crash of lightning, and from up in the town square you hear a scream. And then we're going to hop over to Marcus. And also, thank you very much. We have a reroll for Hestia from Pac-Man-Do and Potato Hollow. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Right, let's have a look, because you got all the trinkets. Let's have a look. Oh, okay. So what would Hestia, sorry, not Hestia, what would Marcus be doing today? What is he doing? Again, it's sunny, it's nice. You think you've been told probably by one of your servants that the storm is coming, but what would you do?
He would probably have spent the morning like trying to beat the storm. Like, oh, it's a nice day out right now. He's probably like at some archives, like studying some scrolls for his like education and stuff. And now he's just kind of on his way home, poking around at some of the food and stuff in the market.
Yeah, you walk amongst this market, and this your nose is filled with this cooking, these herbs, these wonderful sounds, sights, and smells that you're seeing in this busy market. You can see all this cattle and these hens that are being brought to market, as well as just many other things, along with the silk stalls and other trinkets, which some of them, you know, they're always here, and then others that are from merchants that you haven't seen before. And thank you for the read. Oh, hang on, no, hang on.
I get 2 points.
Yep, you've got 2 points for your pool of your choice. They are temporary, so once used. But yes, Marcus, you see this buzzing town, and there is someone selling trinkets. Someone's selling these rather lovely trinkets that you're not sure whether you've seen some of these before. They look hand carved, and a man calls out to you, and he's just like, "Boy, come here, come and have a look. Look at these, aren't they fantastic? From over the oceans, over the oceans."
Marcus just gets so excited and he's like, oh my gosh, I've never seen this stuff here before. Like, this is so amazing. And he starts just like kind of touching, doing that thing where he just has to like at least put his fingers on everything, just like touching.
Yeah, there's a wide mixture of like metal trinkets, wooden trinkets. There are things here that are definitely just like carved toys. There are lots of ceramics, big bowls, some huge like metal bowls that again they catch the sun and always have like a mirror-esque sort of look. There are weapons on this table. Whether it would take your interest or not, you know you're probably not allowed to go near those. Probably told by your father.
He kind of, with the weapons, even though he's not going to buy any of them, he'd probably still like kind of pick them up and like heft them a little bit just because it's fun. And he'd be kind of like, where did you get this stuff? You said over the oceans? Like, where?
Is it? There are many places I travel. Are you a fighter? Do you like this?
Oh, I don't really fight that much, but...
Why? Look at those big, strong arms. And he sort of grabs like your little like boy arm. So he's like, look at that. And he's sort of really...
He puts it down and he's like, no, I just think this stuff is really interesting. I study it a lot and I don't know, but all of this is so interesting. And he'll kind of like look over the trinkets for something that actually draws his attention.
You can see a lot of brooches and things like that. There's gold inlaid with lapis lazuli and things like this. These brooches that resemble stag beetles. But more interestingly, you can see these strange, weird symbols. They're from another place. You know this, but they are beautiful, and you've probably never seen some of these.
Yeah, he's definitely going to pick up some of the ones with like unfamiliar symbols and really pore over them, kind of turning them around in his hands and looking at them really intensely.
Yeah. These are mainly gold, and you can feel the weight of them in your hand. And he's like, I see that one caught your eye.
Yeah, I've just never seen anything like this before. Do you know, like, I know that you said you've been to many places, but where did this one come specifically?
And he leans over and he's like, Egypt, land of the kings.
That's so cool. And he's just, how much is it?
And he looks you up and down briefly. What are you wearing and what do you look like?
He's still probably dressed kind of nice. Like, he is oblivious to the fact that, like, he might be trying to blend in. Like, he's just not.
So, do you look like you're from a wealthy household?
Yeah.
You're going to be wearing you've probably got your own brooch itself.
Yeah.
And he looks over and he's like, 2 for you. And he gestures to your coin purse. Or you could give me that rather fine brooch of your own. I'm a collector myself, you see.
Oh, this thing? And he kind of looks down at it and he's like, well, it was a gift. I probably shouldn't. And he just kind of takes out the 2 and hands it over.
Fair enough. And he takes it. So, don't forget to tell everyone about your
Of course.
new and wonderful trinket.
This is so interesting.
And he sort of smiles and he said, be careful walking around. How old are you, boy?
Shoot, how old is he?
I don't know, sir.
Let's say, I'm 18.
Oh. And you're out and about on your own? Why? Shouldn't you be out back at home, learning? From the looks of you, you are well educated.
Oh, I just like to stop through town every once in a while, especially when I've been at the archives. I go there sometimes to study. And yeah, so I'm just I stop through here on my way back home sometimes, just because it's neat to see all the different stuff.
And everyone needs a break from work, don't they?
Oh, absolutely.
Studying is boring. What does your father do?
Oh, I don't know if I should just go telling people that.
You can tell me. You know, it's confidentiality between...
Oh, he's a senator?
Is he now?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's kind of cool, but it's also kind of, I don't just like to go telling people that stuff.
No. And why should you? It's always good to have your own privacy, but we're friends now. We've had an exchange. Feel free to come back whenever you want.
Yeah, sure thing.
And he just sort of steps back and he watches you and waits.
He'll kind of seem a little confused by that at first, and then just kind of be like, oh, okay, I should probably go home. Bye. And just walk on.
And as you do, you walk past some more of these like trade stalls and other things like this. And as you do, you pass a stage depicting a comedy. And you see, as usual, you see these sorts of things all the time. You see these people dressed in white robes and with the huge smiling white masks, with the standard sort of very almost statuesque features with a hood up. And lots of people are sat around the stage and they are laughing, they are eating, they're drinking, they're happy. Could you roll me an intellect roll, please?
Yeah.
And beta, beta 3. Oh. Okay,
Ooh,
so
rough.
Let's have a look. Just as a reminder, you do have rerolls. I'm not saying to use it now.
Oh,
I'm
right.
just saying you don't have to, but I know Hestia and Marcus both have rerolls.
Hmm.
And you walk past this stage and everything seems normal. Everything's absolutely fine. And you've seen this play so many times. You've read about it. It's one of the new things going on at the moment. You know, those new fangled plays probably die out or something. But there is chatter, there is laughter. And are you heading home?
Yeah, he's probably heading back home, but he would love to sit here and stay and watch it, but he's probably on his way home.
You can't help but pause and look back as you can hear these raucous laughters erupting from people like hard laborers, workers, merchants, fishermen. There's a lot of people here, farmers, and this is their one break during a working day. And you notice amongst all of these actors, these sort of, as they throw their arms out dramatically, really portraying whatever this story is that's going on right now, there is one actor that stands at the back, unmoving, looking directly at you. And he wears a sad face, despite the comedic sort of atmosphere that is around you. They all wear the happy masks, but not this one. He stands at the back and he watches you as you walk down this road. The sad face following you. It's almost as if the others don't even see him.
Marcus is probably... This intrigues him a little bit. He's wondering if maybe this is part of the performance, just this person trying to freak him out a little bit. So he kind of turns around and comes back a little bit and moves over to the side of the stage that this actor is standing on, just to see what happens.
Yeah, you move back to the stage. So are you standing behind the crowds or are you joining?
I'm joining.
Yeah, you join the crowd. And as you do, this keeps going on. It's still going. There's people laughing around you. Some of them look to you as they're laughing. But it's almost like it's mute on your ears as this Muse steps through the other actors and walks down the steps.
And Marcus is kind of taken aback by this, but doesn't move, just sort of lets this person approach him.
As this Muse approaches you, it's like the crowd parts for it, but the crowd does not acknowledge it either. No one looks at it. They continue to watch the show. They continue to laugh, they continue to drink as this Muse walks very close to you, and it stops inches away from you, looking down at you.
Oh, he's not really sure what to do or say, so he kind of like maybe takes a step back and is like, "Are you part of the show?"
As you step back, he steps forward. Why are you not at home?
Am I supposed to be at home?
Why are you not at home? There's a storm brewing. And I need you to roll me another intellect. Please.
Sure.
Roll a 2. Yeah. On this, as you hear these words leave this mouth, they seem to be getting slightly more aggressive and demanding, and you hear, "Why are you not at home?"
Marcus, sorry, go ahead.
This is your father's voice.
Marcus is gonna kind of figure out that this isn't totally normal.
I'm used to studying in the archive. God, I don't.
I've got book learning. This ain't right.
This is not natural. Like, this is not a thing at this point. He's accepted it. He at this point is going to turn and just like run like back to his house.
Yeah. You turn and you run. As you glance back, this Muse, this thing stays in the crowd and watches you go. Does not move. Does nothing. But watches you go. And as you glance back, you run down those streets you know so well, and you crash into a force. The merchant stands there, his hands gripping your shoulder. He's like, so you're a senator's boy. Someone will fetch a good price for you. And I know someone who will. And behind you again, you see another man step forward, blocking your path either side. You feel one of the arms wrap around your chest, holding you tight. I bet he'd pay a pretty penny for you.
Marcus is gonna kind of like try to wiggle out or like flail defensively.
Yeah, I'm going to flail. Are you using this to be more sort of like worm your way out with like speed, like for a speed roll, or are you literally forcing your way out?
Probably more trying to force his way as much as my speed stat is better.
Okay, can you roll a strength for me, please?
Yeah.
I need you to beat a 4. Ooh, okay, on a 5. Describe how you get out of this. As this man grabs you from behind, wrapping you feel this very big, like, tanned arm across you, and this grip grabs your shoulder as this other merchant leans down to look at you. How'd you get out?
It's just gonna be like absolute, like pure adrenaline fueled panic here. Like he is like wiggling, and then he finally kind of gets an arm free, just like smacks the merchant in the face, like and just like kind of like whacks the other guy and just books it.
He's like, "Get the brat!" Like as he sort of like, and you hear footsteps run after you. Now you can hear 3 pairs of footsteps now as they charge after you down this high street. You can hear them running, you can hear them shouting after you. And how are you could you roll me a speed please to see how you if you slip away?
Okay. Be nice to me, Darius. Not great.
Yeah, you sort of you see like a corner, like an opening into some 3 or 4 more side streets, and you just throw yourself round quickly the left-hand side, and you feel a doorway behind you, which you sort of fall into. It's not open. And you see these 3 huge men run past. You can hear them shouting, you know, "Where did he go? Where did he go?" As they sort of, you can hear them panicking now because they know who your father is. So now they're panicking. And you stand there for a moment, probably to catch your breath, and the door opens behind you. And it creaks open, and you almost fall backwards. And you say, "Oh, what are you doing in my doorway?"
And he kind of turns and is like, "Shh, people are looking for me.
Sorry, what?
People are looking for me."
Right, and you're faced with this man. He is huge. He's got a very friendly face. He's got black stubble, black hair. He looks to be sort of in his like mid-30s, and he looks like maybe he's a fisherman, or something to something that involves a lot of strength as he's built up. He's like, well, like in a good way or a bad way? Do you want me to help you find someone? I mean, I can.
No, I don't, this is weird. Do you mind if I kind of like sit in your house for a second until I'm sure that there were people chasing me? Like, I need them to be gone.
How old are you?
18.
And he looks you up and down. And he's like, okay, fine, come in. And he sort of like walks back into his house and holds the door open for you.
Okay. And he scuttles inside really fast.
You know, you're dressed pretty smart to be running down alleyways and stuff.
Yeah, oh, you think so? Maybe it's the way I'm dressed.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's that huge coin purse you've got sat on your belt as well. I mean, I'm saying.
And he just kind of said some things about this for a second, and then Marcus is like, okay, that's fine. I guess I need to wait for them to go away and then maybe get back to a different part of the town where they won't follow me.
You need walking home? Like, and he sort of like looks at you like, I mean, I've got a boy myself. I wouldn't want someone to snatch him up. And you can see what looks like maybe a 4-year-old poking their head around the side of one of the doors, like, what is that? Like, and also quite intrigued, like comes out a little bit when they see what you're wearing and all these, like, this brooch that you've got clasped in your hand. And he's like, Gaius, come back in. And closes
Marcus totally forgets himself, like entirely, like the context of the situation is gone, and he's like, hi!
What is your name, boy?
Oh, Marcus.
Marcus. Okay, well, that boy over there is mine, and he is Gaius. So it's nice to meet you, I think.
Yeah.
I'm Alexi. So
Nice to meet you.
do you go out often?
I usually go out. I like to go to the marketplace sometimes because there's so many merchants that come in and bring so much interesting stuff for me to look at from all over the world, and I love seeing.
You gotta be careful, or you're gonna become their trade. I mean, I mean this with all due respect, because I mean you're pretty looking. You've got not a mark on you, like, and he sort of like picks up your hands and feels like puts them up against his own rough hands and stuff like that. He's like, you're an easy target. I'd mean this no disrespect. You're small, you're pretty weedy, and you're a really bad runner.
Yeah, that's probably right.
You should do something real. And he sort of like whacks his chest and like points over to like the nets hanging up on the wall. So you should do something real, and then, you know, maybe. Do you want me to walk you home? Is that what this is?
Yeah, that's probably a great idea.
Right. Okay. And he opens the door again, and he stops briefly, and he looks at you and goes, hang on a minute. And he walks over and he picks up like this, like a spear for spear fishing. He's just like, ugh. Like, and he sort of, I hate merchants. And he steps out the door and indicates for you to follow him. And he closes the door behind you. You hear, Gaius, be good. Like, as he sort of closes the door again. And you feel this heavy hand drop on your shoulder as he starts pushing you forwards down this path, and everything seems fairly calm again. Like it's as if the marketplace has gone back to normal. The streets, there's still market stalls all along these streets. Horses are being pulled, and you're having to weave between cattle that is being dragged up and down these cobbled, dusty streets. He's like, yeah, where do you live?
Oh, I live right over that way, you know, and kind of, you know, the house like up on that hill over there, that one. And he kind of points.
You live in that house? Oh my.
Yeah.
Right. And it just sort of starts pushing you forward again, and you see two of these merchants come back, walking straight towards you. And the one who sold you the brooch looks at you directly and you can see that grimace, and then he goes, "My boy, you found my boy." And he walks up to Alexius, who sort of stops abruptly, and you can feel his hands sink into your shoulder, like in a much firmer grip.
Marcus is going to turn and look at him and not say anything. He's just going to go shake his head entirely, like, no.
And he's like, "This is your boy." And the man said, "Yes, of course." Well, that's funny, because I thought it was my boy. And he sort of pulls you back behind him, but doesn't let you go at all. And you'll notice Alexius towers over these people, both in width and height. Like, he is broad. And you get this feeling of, they sort of take a step back, and he's like, "If you don't mind, going home, move." Like, and what the one on the side immediately just like moves to the side and stands up against the wall, but this other one leans down to you, to your level, and sort of weaves round Alexius. "Next time you come to the market, next time," and pushes past both of you. At this point, you see him disappear back towards the main market square as Alexius walks you quite a way back through these side streets. No one crosses you at all at this point, because you have effectively a wall walking with you as this guy comes past. And you stop fairly close to your house, and he looks up and he's like, "Oh, okay, you live here?
Yeah,
It's better than my shack." Like, is he sort of more murmuring to himself than anything, not really talking to you.
Do you want to come inside? I mean, I should probably thank you for,
No. No offense, but one that I'll make everything dirty, or, you know, like, and he's looking down at himself, sort of like he's covered in just muck. It looks like he's been working all day, and he's like, "And I don't think your dad will take too kindly to me traipsing in over your home."
I really think so. I'll find a gift to send you or something.
No, I don't need a gift. I tell you what, maybe just do something else. Just I don't know whether you want to try and run faster, beef up a little bit. And he sort of squeezes your arms, like, we're pretty lucky today. I mean, you know, what do you normally do if you get in trouble?
If I get in trouble, well, that kind of depends. But usually, if I get in trouble, my dad just can fix it.
Oh, he's one of those, is he? Okay, well, I tell you what then. Your gift to me, don't do that. Do something else. Do, for all I care, fine, become a politician or whatever. Learn to throw a punch. Book smarts aren't going to get you anywhere. Well, they will, kind of, but like, at the end of the day, and he starts to just, he's talking to himself, he's jabbering a little bit. He's like, "Look, you'll be fine."
Okay.
And from the center of the market square, you hear a scream. And now we're going to hop over to the lovely Hestia. Hestia, what are you doing at this point today. What do you look like? Describe what you look like and the scene that we can find you in at this time.
So, Hestia is, she's actually dressed in a very beautiful white kind of robe with very intricate gold designs on her. But you can't see much of that because she's actually covered with a top cloak, and it's covering her hair. And she's actually kind of like up higher in the city, not quite at the docks, but she's overlooking the ocean right now, and she sees kind of the storm coming in, and she looks at that, and as she like lifts her head up and she's kind of looking into the distance, a really big gust of wind catches the hood of her cloak and kind of blows back her cloak, and you see this long fall of like very deep blue hair. And immediately once that like is exposed, she like kind of looks around panicky, and she's like and like covers it up and she already sees kind of some of the sneers and in the crowd, knowing that people judge her for having this hair color. She kind of like tightens her cloak a little bit, and she begins making her way back down the street, back towards her home. She's got a big scroll in her hand and a couple of books under her other arm. And she's kind of walking, and she can catch a couple comments coming at her off the side street. And she's like, watch it, as she's walking along. And she's starting to make her way past all of the merchants. She sees this lovely silk trader. But she's just walking towards her home.
No, go on, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say that she arrives closer towards her home, but if you wanted to add something in there.
Yeah, you do hear those whispers, and there are a couple of children that they're not making horrible comments. If anything, they're more intrigued. Mm-hmm. The comments tend to come from some of the adults, and that you can hear them. You're not even sure fully what they're saying, but you catch that tone. You catch that tone of voice as you walk past. And as you walk down the street, you see a young boy dressed very smartly and being escorted by a huge man, just with a hand on his shoulder as he pushes past you. He's like, excuse me, as he pushes past you.
Sorry.
Doesn't pay much attention to you. But you walk through this town, you walk up by the up through the market square by the merchants, and this silk stall, there's quite a few. They sort of go round into another part of the side street, and you hear a shriek from a woman as she's like, get it off, like, as you sort of see, and you see this cat launch out as it jumps away from this woman who is swinging a broom at it, as these and you see the stall start to tumble as all these fine silks sort of flood over the floor, and this cat is like up on its heckles and it's hissing at this woman, and she picks up, like, she's just got something that she's like some bread, and she just throws it. She's like, get out of here, like, as this thing runs, and it sort of comes towards you, seeing your long billowing cloak, and ducks straight underneath your sort of robes.
Under my cloak. I actually look right down. I'm like, you're not welcome here either, right? And she's like, you can come home with me. And she kind of like does a little like beckons it to follow her.
Yeah, you can walk forward, and like this, you see it do that sort of like arch its back as like your cloak sort of slides off it. It looks towards this woman who is like jabbing a finger at it and trying to pick up all these silks, and almost, you know, when cats are just, they really show the I don't care, like the sort of the proud sort of trot, as it follows after you down this high street. You arrive at your home. What does your home look like?
So it actually, from the outside, it's kind of overgrown with various vines and plants. and she opens the door, and just as like she steps through the frame, you can kind of see like a ray of sun come through the door frame, and you see that just like, you know how dust kind of just like hovers in the air? That's what it looks like as she walks into the main room, which has this giant circular table set about in front of her, and then various wooden shelves all around the room. And you just see tons of like bits and bobs, just little bottles, jars full of liquids. It almost looks like a healer's home. She has lots of different plants that have been crushed. She's got the mortar and pestle kind of thing. She has tons of dusty tomes of books everywhere. And as she walks in, she you can see that there's a lot of clutter on this main table, and she looks to make sure the cat's still following her, and she's like, come on, and closes the door behind them. And then right as the door closes so that no one's watching, you see her extend her hand up and cast away the books on the table, and they float back to their the bookshelves. And she finally like lifts up this big parchment that she's carrying, and she like lays it across the table, and you see that it's this giant map. And she throws the books to the side of the table, and she's like, okay, now they said it was there. And she points to the map, and she like, and she's like, okay, and she opens another book, and she's like looking for information in the book, and it's like she's looking for a certain place in the country.
Yeah, this rather like scraggy looking tabby cat like looks or ducks and looks in before padding in. When you move all the books aside, it sort of fluffs up for a second and then calms down before jumping up on this table where your map is, and padding around and sort of following your finger as you do so.
And she looks up kind of with like a little smirk, and she's like, are your paws clean?
It sits down and starts to lick its paws.
Thank you. This is a very important map. Don't go getting your beans all over it. And she's like, are you hungry?
It sort of cocks its head to you and sort of like nudges you slightly with its head, but otherwise it just seems to mosey about your house. It's sniffing, it's exploring, it's not shredding anything, but it's starting to pull things out from their places of where you usually keep them.
Watch that. Don't touch that on the shelf. And then she looks, don't you knock that off the shelf. And as it like starts to fall, she like catches it in midair with her powers, and she's like, how about this instead? And she floats the object back to the bookshelf, and she you see like another part of the house where she keeps her food. You see a small little plate with some kind of brown food floats out, and she sets it on the ground, and she's like, how about you occupy yourself with that?
And as you look at this map, you look over this map and you look through your books, and this cat does seem to sort of occupy itself, mosey around a bit, finds a patch where that sun is sort of coming through your window, and moves as the sun moves with the hot patch each time. There's a knock at your door.
She like puts her hood up, and she opens the door.
There is a very hunched old woman, also hooded, right by your door with a staff and not very many belongings. It looks like she's she's got this cloak, looks well worn. It looks like she's well traveled. She's like, hello? Is it Hello.
Hello. Do I know you?
Okay, there's someone here. And she looks up and you see her eyes are a milky white and glazed over. And she's, I was just wondering if I could trouble you for a drink. I've traveled quite far. And you look down at her feet and she has no shoes on. They're very mucky. They look a little bit bruised, but they also look like they've been like that for a long time. And she's yes, I would if you could spare a drink or maybe something to eat.
And she kind of like, come in, and she's like, may I touch your elbow? And
yes.
And she's like, here, I'll guide you. There's kind of a mess in here, and escorts her in. And then as she's she like kind of motions with her hand and the door closes, and then she takes her hood off and she's like, I haven't got much, but are you cold? Do you need how hungry are you?
I don't need much, just a bit of bread or something, you know, just it's I don't know how long it's been, but I am rather peckish. She sort of like looks at, she's not really looking up at you, like she's probably not used to looking directly up at anyone. But you see her slowly settle herself down with your guidance. And the cat sort of wanders over and like rubs up against her leg, and she's like, oh, like, and sort of reaches down, almost like just grabbing the cat because she can't see where it is, but she's trying to stroke it.
You look like a weak gust of wind could blow you over. Let me grab you something. And she kind of giggles softly, and she goes and I'm sure the lady can hear her rummaging. She brings back a small plate of food and sets it in front of her, and she's like, here, it's just a little bit of hard cheese and some bread and a couple berries. I don't have a whole lot, but you're welcome to it.
Oh, you're too kind. And she sort of reaches out and she takes like this cheese and brings it up to her mouth and starts eating under this hood. And she sort of hands it, this is my pay. And she hands...
No.
No, please. I would not come in here without giving you something, will it? You have given me shelter and food. Take it.
And she looks like, does it seem like too much or anything?
She hands over, it's almost like it's like a coin. It's very, very small, very, very flat, and it's on a piece of leather, and it has a small skull just engraved onto it, almost, well, more stamped onto it than anything, and a tooth that is slid, almost like she's made this. This is all tied together on this piece of leather. And she's like, there you go. Payment.
No. This is a very interesting coin. I'm sorry, my name is Hestia. Who are you?
You know, that's a good question. I forget. I haven't used my name in a long time. Adgar? I know someone called me that once. Yes, let's go with that. Let's go with Adgar.
Adgar?
Uh-huh.
And where are you from, Adgar?
Oh, everywhere.
Everywhere?
Everywhere. All around. Mountains, oceans, plains, you name it. I've been there. But I thought this would be nice. And she sort of just to this weird necklace she's given you. It's like, I don't really know what it looks like, but I'm pretty sure there's a happy face on that piece, that coin. Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's a skull. Where is this from? What land?
I don't know, if I'm honest. I trade things, I find things on the way. Yes, where like the cat sort of jumps up on this woman's lap, and she's like, immediately she takes the cheese away from it, almost like this is her cheese. Like she sort of panics mildly and then retreats back. to it. Where are you from?
Where-
Here, or do you hail from somewhere else?
I've lived here for quite a while. But I'm not from here.
No,
From far away.
family.
Not what? Family?
Family? Do you have family other than this delightful creature? And she's sort of like holding the tail of this cat.
And feeling she almost can't control it. It just kind of appears on her face that she has this look of kind of like pain. She's like, no, no family.
You sound sad.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. Just me and the cat, Merritt. Merritt, and she looks at the cat and kind of gives it this Merritt kind of look.
Yeah,
And
just...
yep, the cat and I get along quite well here. And she tries to like kind of get a cheerier face on.
You don't have to pretend, you know. I see more than you realize. You have
What?
lovely hair.
And then she's like, lovely hair.
It's a beautiful color. It's very nice.
I've never heard anyone describe my hair as beautiful.
Who wouldn't want hair the color of the ocean?
And she kind of like most people call me names and sneer at me for my hair.
But then they are ignorant.
Don't disagree with you there.
And in a very swift movement, she grabs your hand and your arm. You're not like others, are you?
What do you mean?
You move things. You've been touched by the gods.
Yes. Although cursed might be one word I would use.
There is a power in your veins, a power that you are going to need to use.
What if it is a power that it scares me?
And she sort of chuckles like this. Then I'd get over it, because you're going to need it anyway.
You know, I like you.
And she turns over your hand and puts hers on it. This very old, wrinkled, tanned, like, hand. This has been weathered and aged. You did something bad, didn't you?
I only did it once. And
Once was enough.
I would do it again.
Good. I like that spirit. It's what you're going to need when it comes.
How do you know all of this about me?
How do you do what you do?
And then she kind of smirks and she's like, fair enough.
She sort of leans in, still keeping her head bowed because she's not fully sure where you are. But she's just, in fact, she leans slightly past you, like without. I did something bad.
What did you do?
And you hear a slight chuckle under her breath. And she shakes her head slightly and waves her finger on the other hand. Just use it. When it comes, you're going to need to use it. You're going to need to help others those who may have cast you aside before don't become them.
What, who do I need to help? How do I find them?
They'll find you. You've spoken with such before. And she takes both your hands now. And she looks up at you. And as you look down, you do not see an old woman. You see a muse. You see a face. You see a mask. A sad face. It's going to happen. It's going to happen soon. Thank you for the food. And this person stands upright and then walks to your front door.
And she just watches in just disbelief.
And it turns back, says, I really do like the hair. And then opens the door and closes it again.
And she just kind of sits back on the ground. She's like, what do you think of that, Merritt?
And you just hear this mew that's, and followed by this yawn very quickly as it curls up by your feet.
And she just pets the cat. Me too.
It steps over. It stands, the cat stands up and steps over your feet. Jumps up onto a chair, jumps up onto the desk. And lays down on the map. It lays there for a bit. And as it stands briefly, as you look at it, it walks off again. And thank you, Tool School, for a donation to another role for Cosima, even. And the cat walks away, hops up to another shelf and sits and looks at you. Expectantly.
Do you know something?
And it mews again. And as you approach it, you look down at the map, and there is a mark where it didn't quite clean its paw prints properly.
And what do I see?
It hovers over this space in the map, this empty space.
And she points to it and looks up at the cat. Here?
The cat jumps down and rubs itself up against your arm before jumping off the table and going to start eating that piece of cheese.
And then she just... This is an interesting day.
From the market square, you hear a scream, an ear-piercing scream. And now we're going to hop over. I'm going to say it wrong. Zyraxes.
I didn't pick a great name, did I?
Zyraxes. That's right, right?
That's right,
Zyraxes.
that's right.
Yeah, okay.
I just all those Z's and X's.
Yeah,
man,
I'm just like,
I
wait, I got this. Like, which one is it? So, what would Zyraxes be doing at the moment?
Zyraxes would be not in the marketplace, but just slightly off in one of the side streets, which has a decent amount of traffic, but isn't going to be crowded. Would be crouched down against a wall, just, you know, in a squat. And they have a begging bowl in front of them. This really, really rough-hewn, probably stolen from someone, begging bowl in front of them. Except it's been half filled with mud, bits of wet sand, bits of leaves, anything just scrounged up off the ground. so that the few coins that are in there are half submerged. They don't glitter, they don't attract anyone to the bowl. And anytime someone throws a coin down, they immediately, like, their hand just snakes out and rubs a bit of dirt on it. Like, they can't bear the glisten. And they are just crouched down. And the first thing that's very obvious about them is their hair is a weird color, but not an abnormal color. It's dark because it's matted and dirty and probably only gets a wash when it's raining, but it's also a natural dark red, which is peculiar for this part of the world. It is also, it falls in these stringy mats to about just above waist length, and it is uneven, like someone has taken a knife to it before, probably not with their consent. And they are crouched down, and this hedge forms this curtain, so you can't properly see their face. And their hands are held in front of them. And they've got something in their hands, and it kind of looks like meat, but it doesn't look like cooked meat. And just curled around their arms are a mass of thin snakes. Various colors, various species of snake, but it's just these thin, tiny snakes wrapped around their arms that are just picking at whatever this was that's in their hands. And every time someone drops a coin, and it's not very often, the head like jerks up and the hand goes out and rubs a bit of dirt, and it's fairly obvious from the mess on their face that they are sharing their snake's dinner, whatever it was. Or they did share it, and not in a very clean way. And that's what they've been doing for about 3 hours. Just twitching, occasional like crack as they move too quickly. And these snakes are just covering their forearms. They're just hunched in this strange little pretzel of weird person.
So many people walk past you that day. Some of them don't even give you a second glance. Others do, and sort of try and take a wide berth around you. And the day sort of goes on just how it normally does for you. There's not much going on. You can hear this storm brewing, this storm rumbling overhead. And as you're looking down and you're in this position, two little bare feet stop just in front of you. You can just see the toes as they wiggle in this dirt trail. The concrete sort of start to appear as you get closer to the market square. But these two little feet appear in your eye line. And you hear a voice. What are you doing?
And the head just like slowly lifts up, and there's a confused expression on what is a very femininely featured face. Like the features very soft, very like classically feminine, but the voice is deep. It's like eating, and they just lift up their hands, and the snakes still coiling around whatever this mass of meat and fur used to be, kind of look and then look back at the meat.
And thank you for that donation from Torschool for a minor magical item for Zraxes for having such an awesome intro. And this little boy looks at you. He sort of like rubs his face. You can see a lot of dirt on his face. He's got very, very dark hair. And he's wearing very, very simple clothes, and he looks at you and, what are they? Like, why are they doing that? As he sort of points to the snakes that sort of curl up around your wrists, and look at him briefly, but then delve back into what you're doing.
They're eating. They eat of the body so that they do not become the ground. And there's just a brief mad smile, and then it goes back to looking quite vacant and a bit confused.
And the kid sort of, okay, what? Like, sort of confused, but finding it funny more than anything. That you can detect like a hint of nervousness as well, but yeah, this kid seems more intrigued by you than anything.
And just suddenly lean forward. Like I'm looking through the child. And she's like, what are you doing?
I'm out walking.
Why?
Because Dad's working. And Mum.
Oh.
They work at the marketplace.
Noisy. Too noisy. Lots of people. Fake.
That's why I come here. Why'd you
Can
look
you
like
hear
that?
Hmm?
Why'd you look like that?
What do I look like?
Different. Not everyone has those.
And again, like points at the snakes, like
I don't have those. My mum and dad don't have those. My friend, Octavian down the road doesn't have those. I've never seen him before.
They're my friends.
Friends. Oh, okay.
My God gave them to me.
Your God? Who's your God?
You call him Dionysus, but he has many names. He is the twice-born, he is the thigh-born, he is the many-faced.
Oh, okay. I thought there was more than one. Well, that's what Mum said anyway. There's more than one God.
There are. And they're all right, but they're not mine. My God came to me. My God loves me. And there's just the mad smile again, like, and then it condenses back into confusion.
I haven't decided which one's my favorite yet.
Too young. Too young.
it sort of looks at you.
Do you always stay here?
No, I move. I move a lot. I've always moved. We moved.
Really?
And like this kid like starts to sit down and cross its legs like right in front of you, even though there's a lot of people like walking past looking at this situation. Is it?
Well, what sort of places have you been?
I came down the mountain from Starosel. I was born too soon, too fast, before my time. That's how I know. That's how they knew. And then south. And then there was the sea. I don't like the sea. And then there was the sea, and then it was the hot place. And now here.
Why don't you like the sea?
It moves. It's shiny. Not
They're
right.
moving.
Like and points over at the snakes.
They're moving.
They're alive.
Mum says the sea's alive. She says you've got to be really wary of it, otherwise it will get you.
Its ruler might get you, but the sea is water, and water is wet, and wet is uncomfortable and cold, and it moves without moving.
I like the sea. I like swimming. And I like playing with my friend down there. We were down there earlier today. And then I hurt my foot, so I came back up.
I don't like the sea. And like the hands are just creeping up so that the snakes are almost like eclipsing the face, but you can still see their eyes.
Is it?
Well, you don't have to like the sea. I don't like thunderstorms, and I can hear one coming in. I'm actually headed home.
Storms are just the thunderer making noise.
Oh. Okay. You know, you're really quite funny. Weird, but funny, like in a good way. I've never seen someone like you before.
Do you not go to the temples? The god touched her everywhere.
Well, yeah, but I go with my mum and my dad.
Too young. Too young.
I'm not too young. I'm 5.
Too young.
And he sort of like pushes his chest back a little bit.
Well, okay. Looks like there's someone else here to see you anyway. Thanks.
And she sort of stands up. He stands up, and you see him brush himself off. And he throws like a pretty seashell, not thinking about that you don't like the ocean, and throws it in to your bowl as like a thank you. As 2 more feet appear. These are sandaled feet. And you see a hand, before you see the face, drop down and put a small glass orb in your bowl.
My hand's just out, and the orb and the shell just dusted with mud. Just immediately.
As you look at this orb, as you touch it, it's like a fog appears within it and starts to swirl.
I've seen weirder things, so I'm just watching.
And these feet stop beside you. Why are you here?
I moved. I always move.
Yes, you do, don't you? You move a lot. You never stay in the same place at the same time.
He will have his procession, and the procession must move.
Yes, it must. Yes, it must.
There's a storm coming.
Is there?
The thunder is angry. He's always angry.
As you look up at this figure, you see that mask, you see that Muse, that saddened face. And you're no longer in the street. You're sat up high on a cliff. You feel that salty air from the sea. And down below, you see the city where you were once sat, the city of Eberros.
I just stand up, and I am tall, about 6-something feet, but it's not it's not a muscled tall, it's just unfolding. And I just look down. Small. Smaller than I thought.
Very small. Very insignificant, but it is full of life.
All things are full of life, and death, and life again.
You need to open your eyes more.
They are already opened.
Your God has gifted you with such, but you can do more.
For him.
For him.
My life is his. My death is his. My life is his again.
That it is. There's so much more to your God than you realize. There's so much God around us. It lurks in everything. Where there is good, there is bad. Where there is light, there is darkness. Child, you need to perceive what you cannot see. It's coming. The darkness. And you suddenly realize you're thrown into nighttime as you stand atop this cliff face looking out.
And there's that mad, massive grin again as they look back to the masked figure.
This still frowning face. This face you've seen in so many crowds and so many things. looks at you. And as you smile at it, the sad frown mimics and starts to bend and twist and curve upwards into a smile and stretch. Your god may be lost if you do not open your eyes.
Tell me how.
Something is coming. Do what you do best. Listen to your god. Listen to them all. Not just yours. Not just theirs, and sort of looks down at the city. There's more up there than you realize.
I am but a vessel for the wine. I will listen.
And there's more down there than you realize. And this person stamps his foot on the earth. You'll find no creatures of the sky or of the deep, but those of darkness. And you start to hear this crackling and this heat as the city of Idios below you bursts into flames. The streets are lined with fire. People are running. People are screaming. You see people pulling their livestock away from the flames, letting them free and letting them flee.
Looks like we got a new
People are running to boats. You see a woman appear beside you, stood beside you with long blue hair, and a cat sat on her shoulder. A woman, another woman, stands beside her. Large woman, a muscular woman. A net draped across her, almost like a toga. And a young boy. A boy that clings to a book. Plain book, but this book is big. This is a big book. And the muse turns to you again, and you watch the face shift back down into a frown. And it looks at you. And as you look out over the ocean where you can see those huge statues that have always guarded this port. Two huge warriors, each carrying in their hand Poseidon's symbol, a shield in one arm. Their mouths open as if they're shouting a war cry, and you see them start to crumble and dissolve in its chaos and fall into the sea. Can you roll me an intellect check, please? I need you to beat 3.
Let's see.
Okay. You're not sure what it is for that split second. As you see these statues crumble, it's like they fall to their knees. And it's like you see something dragging them down into the depths. As you stand on this cliffside, you hear all the screams of the people below, and you feel that burning sensation in your lungs, that almost that you haven't had a drink for so long.
I look to the people I'd seen beside me. Are they still there?
They stand there, motionless, looking out to this scene.
And I look back to the masked figure. Act as actors.
Take many faces.
Wear many masks. I have no mask.
Yeah.
Whose masks are they?
You must find them. Open your eyes more, open their eyes more. Find them. Find the traveler. Find the messenger. Open your eyes. And there's a crash and you hear more screams as there seems to be like an explosion down by when the temple area. There is a flurry of people you see flooding out. You see that little boy, the boy who stopped and had a conversation with you because he thought you were weird, but good weird. As you see him flee out of the town with people you can assume are his parents.
There's a moment where Xerxes almost steps forward, but then doesn't. There's like just that sway before it's gone again, and they're just watching.
As you do, you feel this figure, this masked figure step close to you behind you and lean in almost right by your ear. It says, open your eyes. And for a second you blink. And for all of a sudden there's a rush. You realize why your lungs are burning. You realize why your throat hurts, why you are parched, because you are in fact the one who is screaming. You have walked barefoot. You are now in the market square, screaming. And the rest of you, you've heard this scream. You've heard this from the direction of the market, every single one of you. What do you do?
Hestia rushes to her her door and she like opens it, and not even thinking, just the cloak is flown back and her hair is kind of billowing in the wind, and she's looking up and down. Do I see the source of the scream?
You can hear people rushing towards the scream, and you know that you're not far from the square itself, but you get the sense it is coming from the square.
Looks like we got a new friend.
Cat with me, and she starts like running through to the source of the scream. Yeah,
you can tear down that cobbled streetway. The cat is close on your heels, and as soon as it gets close enough, it jumps off. A market's still ready to jump onto your shoulder. What is Cosima doing? She sits down on the beach with these waves lapping round her, this mask now almost half buried in the sand.
I think she feels an anger almost at the confusion of this moment, and a fist comes pounding down into that wet sand, and it's just all the strength is just dissipated and sucked away into nothingness. And have you not taken enough? And she's trying to ignore the scream, but her gut is just a ball, and she snatches the mask from the sand and tears up the beach, and she'll dump the cloak, soaked as it is, on her boat on the way past, and just be running to find out. Her bag keeps slipping down her shoulders. She keeps having to kind of rip it back up. And she's always conscious of that weight of that strange object that's still in her bag. But she's just dripping wet and running back up to town.
You are leaving these like wet footprints in the sand and then up onto that dirt path as you run from the sand to the dirt, from the dirt to the cobblestones. Some people have just stood around you confused more than concerned about this scream, but there's something about this scream that you feel you need to get to. And that crystal in your bag, that quartz, you hear it whispering to you again in a voice that is familiar to you as you tear up through this pathway. And how about Marcus? What is Marcus doing?
Did you say the screaming was coming from the marketplace?
It's coming from the market square.
He stands there for a second, like, not sure what to do.
Yeah, Alexis is like, what the hell is that?
Should we go? That was back at the market.
You want to go back?
Well, yeah, but what if someone, like, needs, what if they're hurting someone else because they didn't get me? I don't know. And he's gonna, like, run inside for a second, disappear, and then come back out in, like, one of those, like, big traveling coats that has, like, the hood that obscures his face. And he's like, let's go check it out.
He's like, you just take off? Like
he didn't just run by him. He kind of, like, runs a couple steps ahead and then looks back like, come on, let's go.
And this guy's looking at you like, yeah, right, yeah, okay. Like, and he sort of starts running with you, and you feel his hand basically on your back, and it's like pushing you slightly because you just not running that fast enough for him.
Got it.
He runs towards the square. Now, Cosimo, Marcus, and Hestia, as you arrive on this square, Zeraxes, how are you in this center of this square? You've just opened your eyes. There is a storm almost fully overhead of you now. The sky is darkening. People are stopped and sort of frozen looking at you with a mixture of, one, you don't look like the rest of them, and you are now stood screaming with a dead man at your feet. A man wearing a mask. One of the comedians from the stage, dead at your feet in a pool of blood.
I am completely ignoring the dead body. Might as well not be there. I have my arms like spread wide, and the snakes are just dropping from my arms, crawling over to my feet, and crawling back up to drop from my arms. It is a nightmarish image, but it is unmistakably a deliberate action, and so there is something horrifyingly holy in it. And since I was put here screaming, I continue to scream at the heavens, and it's very disturbing because, like I said, I still have my lunch on my face. I also have I am wearing breeks, which is, you know, short braids like trousers, which is odd enough in the Mediterranean, but I have no tunic or covering. There's a wisp of what was probably once a piece of cloth that is looped around in some strange sling-ish kind of way, and over that is a massive leopard skin that is tied by its front paws in front of me. They're literally just tied to mine, and it is old. Like, its head is slightly caved in. This is not like a gladiatorial image. It is old, it is dusty, there are bald patches where the fur is falling out, but on top of it is an almost pristine, sleek fox fur. And these are symbols that some people might recognize, but they are obviously not like displayed for wealth. They are displayed in a kind of, this is a holy person. And I just have my arms out, snakes dropping, and I am just screaming at the sky until my voice breaks and it literally cannot scream anymore. I will scream myself hoarse, because that's what I've been told to do.
And the three of you arrive on the scene. You see this body laying before this person, this scene above you, and as the scream erupts into the skies, the heavens open and water downpours. And people are either fleeing from the water, or they are whispering. They are looking to each other. Some of them are grabbing children and things like that, hiding them behind them, ushering them away. And Alexius, arrives with you, Marcus, and he's just like, okay, what? Like, it's just sort of looking. By the gods, what is happening here?
Very matter-of-factly, Marcus just says, looks like some kind of ritual.
He's like, no shit, kid. Like, look at that. Like, and he's sort of like, it's like, that's not your merchant.
Sure isn't. And he kind of stands there and is just observing the snakes and the body and like the person screaming, and he's just kind of like, huh. And he's going to maybe try to ascertain whether or not there's like a good point where he can like step in and like ask.
Marcus is like,
excuse me.
Yeah.
I have a second every time.
Right. Well, he's like trying to be like, is this going to interrupt something and like make God very angry at me? But also like is very curious. So he's kind of edging closer and looking very inquisitive.
Alexius is like not watching you for a second. He's like, oh, lets you go forward. Now, Cosima and Hestia, you see this scene. You see this strange person stood screaming up at the skies, snakes dripping off them, dressed in clothes you're maybe not too used to seeing. And you see this young boy starting to approach this person.
Hestia immediately feels, having had bad interactions with the gods before, seeing this very profound scene makes her almost very uneasy. And you see just like the tips of her fingers start to kind of spark with this blue kind of electricity. No, not again. And she sees like the little boy walking towards the person, and she's just kind of overcome with this need to help, and she runs over. What is going on?
Is this to Marcus?
It's kind of at both of them.
And Marcus kind of goes, that's what I'm trying to figure out, but I'm waiting for them to stop? I don't...
And she looks at the person there. Are you still screaming?
I think by this point, my voice would have broken, so it's kind of choked off. But then there is this hoarse, just like they're attempting to shout, but there's nothing left. So they just go, "I will find them, I will find them," and just like still like trying to shout and just not taking any notice of what's happening. This is pure religious fervor. Just like, I am one of the sub. Boy, I am here for Dionysus. I will find the actors.
And Hestia like leans down as this is going on, and the hood of her cloak flies back again, and you see her blue hair just kind of everywhere, and she reaches kind of towards your face, and you see the little like sizzle, and then she pulls back like, are you hurt?
Their head just like snaps around like, you know, zombie flick, nightmarish kind of crack, because they've seen your hair. And they just, like, both hands, still teeming with snakes, just reach for you.
And in this moment, the large hands of Cosima come forward to kind of save Hestia and Marcus from this insane person who is condemning us all by summoning the storm. That is completely how Cosima is reading this. This insane person is summoning a squall into this fisherman town, and stop! She's mad! well, they're mad, sorry, and she kind of pulls back Hestia and
Well,
Marcus.
to be fair, you can be confused. They look very feminine, but have a very, very flat chest. So it's kind of like, I don't.
Yeah, and
You can be confused. It's fine.
This cat, Hestia, is on your shoulders, and the rain doesn't seem to be bothering it, but it is heckled up, and it is hissing at these snakes that are reaching for you.
The snakes are hissing back, to be fair.
It's a communal hiss.
Yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Do Cosima's hands like actually land on me?
they would be to touch Hestia and Marcus.
Okay, that's
rather than to touch. No offense.
no. Oh, that's good. There's a better option.
And I think as long as Hestia and Marcus don't resist too much, it'd be fairly easy to pull them back like a step. And then Cosima wants to actually look at the body, look at the victim of this crazed zealot. Just stoop down, probably between Marcus and Hestia, and kind of reach out to touch the blood that's being, I guess, almost washed away now by the deluge of the storm, and lift the mask of the actor to see who is underneath, who has been murdered from what she can tell of the situation.
As you kneel down, feel this rain get harder and heavier, and this water starts flooding the blood and starts making it run between the cobblestones as it runs down the street. And you hear the whispers from all around at this scene. And I need you to roll me an intellect, please. 7. As you look down at this body, this person has been stabbed in the back a few times. This looks aggressive. And as you pull the mask away, you see that blood comes with it. And you place it down. Or do you? Do you place it down beside you? It is identical to the one that you have.
Yeah, I think she wouldn't just be like locked on the face of this victim.
You look down at this man, this young man. You're not sure who this is. For that split second, you took a second glance. The mask itself looked like it flickered to your face and back again. And this dead body lays before you. And the head turns to look at you and blinks. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. And it just starts repeating over and over again. To the four of you, you see this. And you hear cries of alarm as people shove through these crowds towards you. As this body goes limp beside you again, Cosima.
She tries to back up, but there's no space because there's two people either side of her, and she just ends up kind of sat on her ass as the just soaked already from the sea and now soaked from the rain, dumbstruck and not knowing what to do. It just surrounded by this strangeness, and it feels like an evil to her, but she doesn't know how to fight something like this. And her hands, they kind of ball into fists, and she looks up and she can see the snakes tumbling down off of Zyraxis, and she pushes all of her weight forwards to knock this person off their feet, to stop the shouting, to stop the sound, and stop whatever this ritual is, because there's this evil, sinister feeling to it all. This unnatural heaviness.
Strength, please.
I will. What am I aiming for?
You're aiming for just a 3. You're pretty strong.
I'd like to spend some. Do I spend from my pool before I roll or after?
I'm gonna say on this one either, and we'll decide.
Okay. In which case, I'll roll first.
Yeah, that's no problem.
That's a 1. Okay, I have a pool of 11.
Mm-hmm.
And you said it was a
3. Yeah.
So I need to spend 8 points to get up to 9.
Badly, do you want to knock me on my ass?
Pretty badly. I also have some assets which might help me.
Also have a reroll.
Oh!
Just saying. Just
Well, in
throwing that
which
out there.
case, as much as I would love a second GM intrusion. 18!
There we go. Yeah. How describe how you push Xeraxes?
So she's brought up her fists and she kind of plants them into the ground, and then her fingers splay across the cobbles, and she just pushes forward, and just her shoulder comes ramming into just above the knee to kind of hit that point to cause Xeraxes to kind of fold into two. And then push up with the hands to hopefully end up standing over the top of this demonic creature.
Yeah, you step upright, and Xeraxes, you feel this force hit you as you do. You see this woman, this huge woman, like a muscular sort of force of a person, and you feel yourself almost crumple downwards, slightly like a ragdoll. You've been so preoccupied with the sky, the snakes, your god calling to you and giving you this motion that you must fulfill, and you crumple down to the floor. What's Hestia and Marcus doing?
Up until this point, Marcus has been kind of frozen to the spot, first surprised by being pulled away from the scene, and then by the dead body talking to them. And up until this point, he's been like shocked by this and couldn't move. And suddenly I think he's going to be like, well, what are you doing? We need to figure out what's going on. I guess you can knock them over. Are they let's talk to them.
They are a murderer. Call
They're
out
just like
gods.
staring at everyone, just like, yes, yes, yes. Not saying that, but that's like that's the feeling. Just like mad smile, just like I did it.
And Marcus will kind of turn to Hestia and be like, what? Can you do something? Is there anything that you can do? Do you know what's going on?
Did the visitor visit you too? And looks at Xeraxes.
Many things visit me. My god. Actors! I found the actors! It's coming. It's coming. We need the net, the book, the blue. We need to stop it. He said to stop it.
The book. And she looks like down at her hair and at Marcus, do you have a book in your hand? Or
not
you
not
at all?
currently.
Okay. Okay. So she's just like, the blue book. Did you see someone in a mask? And she's looking at Marcus.
Oh, that person in the play that I thought was in the play and then they weren't. Yes, I did.
Someone in a mask visited me too. And this person, like the dead body, she would have seen the mask come off. And then she turns to Cosima. And you?
There have been actors in town all day. And Cosima's obviously lying. She is being defensive as hell, and she is going to actually reach down to pick up the body. We must take them from the city. It is a bad omen. They are a bad omen.
It is all an omen. We have to stop it. That you are fated. you are fated, and they are pulling at their hair, and there's like bits of ivy that's like breaking away, that's obviously been like wound in there a while ago, and it is like it is dried up and dead, and it's just like flaking down, but they are like pulling at their hair, like just twisting their hands in this matted red mess and pulling as they speak.
Marcus kind of leans over Xeraxes and is like, "Did you kill this person?"
And Xeraxes actually like looks at the body like, "Did I kill this person?" He's like, "No. We went to the top. But I do not remember it takes many things from me. I do not know." And more hair pulling.
Hear whispers from the crowds around you, as though, although many have left to fear not to be associated, some still stay, and they whisper, and you hear mutters of words of guards, of called guards. What is this? There's death. They speak of death. They speak of murder. They speak of 4 people stood around a body, screaming to the gods in the sky, talking of masks.
We should leave here.
That's probably a good idea. And Marcus is going to kind of look around at Alexius.
She puts her cloak back up. We need to go now.
Alexius looks at all of you, and then upon seeing you, Cosima, he's like, "Well, all you had to do was come for dinner." Now you're like,
Alexius, get the guard, get a priest.
like, and he just sort of like,
Just like armfuls of dead person.
yeah, he's looking at you like, just don't do anything stupid. Like, and he sort of runs off.
Xeraxes has started like running their hands through the blood on the ground.
And you hear Alexius call back, "Watch the kid for me," like as he sort of disappears.
Marcus is suddenly getting, as he's becoming aware of the crowd, he's becoming very self-conscious and kind of like withdraws in on himself and pulls the hood tighter around his face. Guys, I should probably not be in public right now.
My house isn't far from here. We could go there. And she's like, come, and puts her arm kind of around the boy, and she's like, "Oh, sorry, don't mind the sparks. It happens a little bit. Are you coming?" And then she looks at the rest of them.
Xeraxes kind of gets back to their feet, unfolds to their ridiculous height, and just kind of flicks blood off their hands, which is still, it's like up to their wrists now. They are just like caked in blood. Kind of flicks blood and mud off their hands and just looks straight at Hestia and goes, "We are fated. We have to stop it."
Can we be fated somewhere else?
We are. Come with me. And she starts to walk towards her house.
Xeraxes just follows, like, you know, large, vaguely alarming puppy, just like.
Marcus,
sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Marcus is going to kind of like stand like between where Xeraxes and Hestia are kind of already moving in that direction and kind of look back to Cosima like, "Are you coming?"
And she stands there in this downpour with this dead body in her arms, watching the perpetrator walk away with 2 strangers, one of which she was asked to protect, and she's just looks at the crowd.
This crowd stare at you.
Tell them where we went. And she's gonna stomp after these people because she doesn't know what else to do.
Carrying a dead body. Just like,
these people, some of them nod, Some of them know you. You can see some of the fishermen that have worked with you, and they know you. And one of them grabs your arms. Like, I'll tell Alexius where you've gone.
Tell the priests and the guards too. They're
That's
not
okay.
hiding.
Gone.
No, we don't need all of them to know.
To know what?
Gods don't need to know where we go this night.
Priest for the body, though. The priest. And this person turns and disappears. And you notice a lot of the crowd slowly dissipates. It's not like they get back to whatever they were doing. They're just leaving the square. They're leaving this blood that is running through the cracks in the cobblestones as you walk back to Hestia's house. Hestia, you arrive at your front door. Are you just welcoming them straight in?
I think given the fact that this old woman really spoke to her, hit her in a way she didn't expect, that would be kind of at the forefront of her mind, and she knows she needs to help someone, and that this can't all be a coincidence with all the masks. And so she pauses at her front door, and you see kind of the glistening of like the rain on the wood, and she pushes through it, and she looks back. Come in.
As Xeraxes follows her in, they just reach up and just like on the underhang of the door, not like the front of the door, like literally the portion they're passing under, they just wipe the smear of blood on it and carry on in. It wouldn't be visible to the outside, but on the underside of the jam.
That doesn't make it any less terrible.
Cosmo's literally like, seriously, all I wanted to do was fish. Maybe go find my husband if this happened.
Marcus is actually gonna watch Xeraxes do that and be like, some kind of like protection thing. Cool. And just very fascinated by everything Xeraxes does.
There's only one thing you need protection from in this place.
Once everybody's in, Hestia still kind of has her back to everybody, and she just lifts one hand up and does this, and the door closes, and we need to talk. And then she turns and, what did the masks tell each of you?
To find you.
I was told to find someone.
I was shown visions. I went to the top and everything was small. I didn't think it was that small. And then there was fire and burning. And the protection fell. The guards fell from beneath.
Do you think this is what's coming?
Something is coming.
Fire.
So much fire. This town burns.
Maybe
And we
not.
watch.
Maybe we are here to prevent it.
My God is not a God of protection, but I'm willing to listen. I will listen, and I will learn.
The masked
Oh, sorry, go on.
Nope.
person just asked me why I wasn't home, so I don't know what that could mean.
And then she kind of looks at Cosma. And
said nothing to me. It only ran all the way back to the sea.
Do not like the sea.
Stand here. Cosimo, what have you done with the body you're carrying?
I think it's still like she's just
Still.
holding it, dripping blood and rain onto the floor. Because you just walked into a house and it's not her house, so she doesn't know where to put the body. You know, the traditional body storage place in Hestia's house.
As you hold this body in your arms, you feel your arms grow lighter, very much like before when you grabbed this person that ran from you, that fled to the ocean. It's like it's just the cloak remains, and you hear a clank as the mask falls to the floor. And all of you hear a hissing sound, like a whisper. You hear, for you once again, Xeraxes, but you all hear that whisper. It's more as if it's in your minds that whispers through one ear. You feel a presence by either side of you. You will find no creatures of the sky or of the deep, but those of darkness. Open your eyes. And that is where we will leave this episode, this opening episode of Realm of the Ancients. So, thank you. So,
Oh my god!
So, we are going to go round. We're going to say hi to everyone, plug yourself, and also say what your favourite bit was about this session. So, we are going to go, we're going to start again with, and I'm going to go with your character name again, because I need to learn how to say them properly. So, Marcus. Let's go, Marcus, or Meg.
Okay. Hi. So I'm Meg, and you can find me on Twitter at Pishkinban or on my D&D blog at elfmans.com. And let's see, my best part of tonight. Oh gosh, it was so good though. I really liked, probably I'm gonna have to say that pinnacle where Xeraxes was just standing in the middle of the everything with the screaming and the rain falling and the snakes. That was amazing.
Awesome, thank you very much. And now we're going to go to that screaming person. So, Xeraxes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we're going to go for. I will get this by the end of the campaign.
Also known as Shakespeare, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Shakespeare. It's the same handle every time. It's very, very random, but I like being there. And I have to say my favorite part was probably that vision, because I'm gonna have to watch that like 5 more times because I'm sure there's stuff I missed. I was like, I'm listening, so I can't be writing stuff down, but I know I need to be writing this down. That was just, it was so intense. I was so locked into that moment. Also Marcus pretty much accepting bad candy from strangers. That was a highlight.
Like literally, you want to scream, "Don't talk to strangers, Mark."
It's like, so who's your father? Oh, I don't see the harm in telling you that I shouldn't tell anyone.
I'm your
he's
friend.
so precious. Like everything.
He's just too trusting.
Like, oh,
Protect Marcus.
Yeah, protect Marcus. Oh, also Muck Dad. I love Muck, Muck Dad is awesome. But yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much. We are now going to hop over to the wonderful Cosima, or Charlie, as we know her.
Well, what a session to start with. I loved Hestia with the reveal of her magic and how that was woven into this world. I'm really excited to see how that goes. Can only be good, right? And Marcus, this precious precious, innocent, curious soul who's not at all terrified or worried about the damnation that Cyraxis is bringing down.
Hey, my god is a good god. As in, good god.
Yeah, I really enjoyed all of this session. It was a really interesting way to start out with us all kind of having these individual journeys and seeing into the day-to-day lives and these muses arriving unto us like a plague. Cosmo definitely has a very different perspective on what's going on from everyone else, who seems kind of chill with it. She is a very devout person as well, but she is definitely seeing plagues and fiery infernos and terrible, awful things happening, as opposed to glory be unto us, for we are united in fate. But yeah, I'm very excited to see where this goes, and if my strong stoic woman can be dragged into this madness any further. I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm at Frost from Fire on the Twitters. I have a pinned tweet which has my schedule. I think this is my only appearance on Scrap Academy this season. So yeah, I'm just here today in this slot with this amazing crew playing in this really cool world, checking out Cypher for the first time. So thank you very much, Alex and Scrap, for bringing in these various systems for us all to play. It's a lot of fun.
And last but certainly not least, Hestia, our blue-haired wild witch child.
I just have to say that I absolutely adored you creating these separate scenes that all weave together so beautifully, and all in a really interesting way, ending with that scream and then it ending up being one of our own players. I love that. I also just love everybody's role play. It was really good. Very, very like just no combat, nothing. It was purely story driven, and I absolutely loved that. So that was my favorite part of the night. And I get a cat, so I can't complain. But my name's Amber. You can find me on Twitter at Furore_D&D. This is my only streamed game that I'm currently in. Otherwise, I DM a couple other Dungeons and Dragons games that I post about regularly. But that's me.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Good.
We are going to go and raid Tales from the Grim. So I'm going to run through the last few bits before we head over there. I know our war cry is the gods don't need to know where we go this night. So we will spam that and send love in that direction. But until then, everyone, go hop in and join our Discord. It's full of some seriously amazing people, and we're so in love with this community. We talk TTRPGs, D&D, all things wonderful, and it's just full of nice people, which is what we're about, basically. If you're nice, we want to get to know you, basically. If you want to get into a game, please drop Scrap a DM on Twitter. We have 5 viewer games this season now, including Ryutama, Ravnica, D&D 5e, Monster of the Week, and Cypher System. So if you liked the look of this system today, it's, what day are we on today? Thursday. So every Wednesday at, I believe, 6 p.m. EST, we do run a Cypher System viewer game. So if you want to have a go, drop Scrap. Yeah. Also, this will be up on YouTube probably in the next couple of days. So if you've missed it, never fear, it'll be up very, very soon. We are full-time now, and it is thanks to all you wonderful people. So first of all, thank you so much. And if you would like to support us, one of the ways of doing that is via Patreon. However, we do also have some free articles on there written by our wonderful Renee, who has also just gone freelance. So go and go and check her out, because she's an awesome human being, and I have to adore her. We also have merch. We have merch where we use Redbubble, and they will slap that symbol on anything at all. You can get bed sheets, skirts, leggings, clocks, wall hangings, jumpers, you name it. You can get it. Also, we have some really wonderful sponsors in the form of Bird in the Storm. Tool School is part of that one thing, who was in chat today, who is an awesome human being, as well as Bird vs. Plane, who you will have seen on the channel, and we are working towards something at the moment which I'm so excited about and can't wait to get started. We also have Maychan Press, who is another one of our sponsors, who, if you tune in later today, you will see the kickoff of our campaign of Dark Matter Alpha with Laugh Love Lindy as the DM. I think it's basically Cowboys in Space is the vibe I'm getting right now, and it looks so freaking awesome. I can't wait. But go check out Dark Matter and Maychan Press, because also just really nice people. So that's it. We're gonna head over on the raid now. I am White Rabbit Pick. You can find me on Twitter as White Rabbit Pick. When I do photography for a living. This is something I keep forgetting to mention. I do.
It's really beautiful.
Thank you. If you want to go and check it out, my link to my websites are down there. And when I'm not doing this, I'm playing in loads of games. I'm playing on this channel. I DM on this channel for Eberron, this wonderful game here. And I've already forgotten the other one because my brain is fried. I do another one. What do I do? Oh my god, sorry, I've had a migraine.
It's very late.
You're going to be in
It's
Thailand
very
really
late.
soon.
I know, and I'm over on Grimjack's channel. Well, not Tales of the Grim, and yeah, I'm in Highlander, and I'm also in Lady Blackbird. So send all the love over there, and yeah, keep evoking emotions, guys, and see you soon. Bye.
Bye.